Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something most people will never dare to say out loud. No one is your friend. Not the ones who cheer when you're winning. Not the ones who promise they'll always be there. Not even the ones who swear they've got your back. Because the moment life gets hard, the moment your shine threatens theirs, the moment you stop serving their needs, you will see how quickly those friendships vanish. And if you're not ready for that truth, you will break. But if you are, you will rise untouchable. Imagine this for a moment. You walk into a room, and every single person there greets you with a smile. But behind those smiles, you don't really know what lives. Some may truly care, others may not, and a few may be waiting to see you stumble. And this is the truth most people don't want to accept. No one is your friend in the way you think. That doesn't mean people won't be kind to you, support you, or even love you. What it does mean is that at the end of the day, every single person is guided by their own interests, their own desires, their own needs. We live in a world where we're taught to seek approval, to lean on others for validation, to measure our worth by how many people clap for us or stand beside us. But what happens when the clapping stops? What happens when the crowd leaves? That's where you find out the only person who truly stands by you is you. And when you start living with that awareness, you stop being dependent on who's with you and who isn't. You stop expecting someone to carry your load. You stop being surprised when people disappear the moment you no longer serve their purpose. When you carry this mindset, no one is your friend. You begin to see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. You stop handing out your trust like candy. You stop giving everyone the privilege of your energy, and you start drawing a line. Because if you believe everyone is your friend, you'll spend your life disappointed. If you accept no one is, you'll never be surprised, and every act of loyalty, every act of kindness, will feel like a gift rather than an expectation. Think of how many times you've been let down. Think of how many promises were made and never kept. Think of how many "I've got your back" moments turned into silence when you needed them most. That pain, that sting, is the universe reminding you you can lean, but you cannot collapse. You can share, but you cannot surrender your strength. You can love, but you cannot lose yourself. Because if you expect people to be your safety net, you will hit the ground hard. This isn't about becoming cold, bitter, or shutting the world out. It's about sharpening your awareness. It's about building a spine strong enough that even if every person walks away, you're still standing tall. It's about recognizing that people are human. Humans are flawed, self-focused, and often limited by fear, jealousy, or convenience. When you see it clearly, you no longer feel betrayed when someone doesn't rise to your expectation. You already knew not to expect it. So ask yourself, how strong are you when the phone doesn't ring? How steady are you when nobody shows up? How powerful are you when the applause is gone? That's the real measure of your strength. Too many people live for the comfort of being surrounded, for the illusion of constant support. But illusions fade, and when they do, you need to be able to walk forward alone, unshaken. There is freedom in this truth. Freedom because you no longer chase approval. Freedom because you no longer play small just to fit in. Freedom because you don't give everyone access to your soul. When you live as though no one is your friend, you stop bending yourself for acceptance. You stop needing to be liked. You stop handing people the keys to your peace. You start creating boundaries, protecting your space, and choosing very carefully who gets to come close. You will notice that when you stand strong without needing anyone, people actually respect you more. They may not always understand you, but they'll sense your strength. Because most people are used to leaning, not leading. They're used to attaching themselves to others rather than anchoring themselves. But when you anchor yourself, you become a rare kind of person, the one who is unshakable. And when you adopt this belief, you start building a relationship with the one person you'll never lose, yourself. You begin to trust yourself more than anyone else. You start listening to your intuition instead of the noise. You learn to comfort yourself instead of waiting for someone else to do it. You create your own path without waiting for validation. Because if you are your own greatest ally, then you are never truly alone. This is how you move through life with clarity. You greet people with kindness, but you don't hand them blind trust. You connect deeply, but you don't become dependent. You love fully, but you don't lose yourself in the process. You learn to see people not as saviors, not as permanent fixtures, but as travelers passing through your journey. Some will walk beside you for a while, some only briefly, and some may return again. But you, your strength, your resilience, your discipline, will always be there. The moment you understand no one is your friend, you unlock a deeper kind of strength. You stop expecting the world to catch you, and you learn how to fly on your own wings. You stop begging for a seat at the table and start building your own. You stop fearing solitude because you realize solitude is where you sharpen your mind, strengthen your spirit, and grow your courage. So don't resent people for being who they are. Don't curse the world for not living up to your expectations. Don't cling to the illusion that everyone will stay. Instead, open your eyes, embrace the reality, and rise from it. Because when you truly accept that no one is your friend, you will stop waiting for someone to walk you through the fire. You'll walk through it yourself, and you'll come out the other side stronger, wiser, and untouchable. Because when you truly accept that no one is your friend, you will stop waiting for someone to walk you through the fire. You'll walk through it yourself, and you'll come out the other side stronger, wiser, and untouchable. And let me tell you this, most people don't want to hear this truth. They'd rather stay wrapped in the comforting lie that everyone who smiles at them cares for them, that everyone who claps is cheering for their success, that everyone who offers advice wants the best for them. But if you look closer, you'll see the truth. Some people smile because they don't want you to know they envy you. Some clap because they want to blend into the crowd, not because they truly celebrate you. Some offer advice not to build you, but to keep you small, safe, and predictable. The world is full of masks, and if you don't train yourself to see beyond them, you'll keep mistaking surface level gestures for genuine loyalty. When you stop believing anyone is your friend, you start cultivating a sharper eye. You begin to notice the difference between someone who applauds you when you're shining and someone who stays silent, but steady when you're struggling. You begin to understand that most people are transactional. They're with you as long as you're convenient, as long as you fit their world, as long as you don't threaten their insecurities. The second you grow, the second you change, the second you choose yourself over their comfort, they will pull back. And that's okay. It's not your job to hold people close. It's your job to hold yourself steady. Think back to every time you relied too heavily on someone. Maybe you counted on them to show up, to understand, to carry some of the weight you were holding. And when they didn't, you felt crushed, angry, betrayed. But what if you had already expected that? What if you had trained yourself to move forward without counting on them? That pain would not have been so heavy. That betrayal would not have felt like it broke you. It would have been nothing more than confirmation of the truth you already knew. That at the end of the day, you can only rely on you. This mindset doesn't make you cold. It makes you unshakable. It doesn't mean you stop loving people. It means you love without illusion. You love knowing they may leave. You love knowing they may fail you. You love knowing they may not give you what you give them. And when that happens, you don't fall apart because you never built your foundation on them. You built it on you. That's the secret very few people will tell you. The strongest people, the ones who move through life with power, clarity, and confidence, are not the ones surrounded by the most friends. They are the ones who have learned to walk alone and not break. They are the ones who understand that being alone is not weakness. It's strength in its purest form. Because if you can stand when the room is empty, you will stand even stronger when the room is full. You will notice something else, too. When you no longer chase friendship, validation, or approval, the right kind of people start to appear in your life. Not because you need them, but because your strength attracts them. And these are the ones who respect your boundaries, who don't demand you shrink, who don't vanish when things get hard. But even then, you remember the rule, no one is your friend. Not because they're bad people, but because humans are humans and their loyalty can shift. Their needs can change, their paths can diverge from yours. And when it happens, you won't beg, you won't chase, you won't crumble. You'll let them go, and you'll keep walking. the world will test you again and again. It will put you in situations where you feel abandoned, overlooked, forgotten. It will strip away the people you thought would stay forever. It will take the illusion of safety and rip it from your hands. And in those moments, you'll face a choice. Collapse because no one is holding you up, or rise because you've always known you could hold yourself. Most people collapse. They say, "I can't do this alone." But you, if you understand this truth, will say, "I was never meant to depend on anyone anyway." Look at history. The greatest leaders, the most powerful thinkers, the people who changed the world were often the loneliest. They were misunderstood, doubted, ridiculed. Their so-called friends disappeared when they were no longer convenient to stand beside. And yet they rose. They rose because their vision, their discipline, their faith in themselves was stronger than the need for approval. They rose because they weren't waiting for someone to walk the path with them. They built the path themselves. And here's the beauty. You have that same strength inside of you. You don't need a circle of people constantly telling you you're capable. You don't need friends who nod every time you dream. You don't need validation for your goals. You already know what you're capable of. You already know the fire that burns inside you. You already know what you're meant to build. Stop waiting for people to agree with you. Stop waiting for people to support you. Stop waiting for people to believe in you. Because they may never, and that's not the point. The point is, do you believe in you? Do you trust yourself enough to walk forward even if no one is beside you? You will face loneliness, yes, but loneliness is not the enemy. Loneliness is the training ground. It's where you sharpen your mind. It's where you hear your own voice without interference. It's where you learn discipline, because there is no one else to push you. It's where you grow courage, because there is no one else to protect you. Loneliness is not a punishment. It's preparation. The world isolates the strongest because it knows they are the ones who can carry weight others cannot. So the next time you feel abandoned, the next time people don't show up, the next time you're left standing alone, remind yourself this is not failure. This is not rejection. This is your training. This is your moment to prove that you never needed them in the first place. That you are more powerful than any circle, more resilient than any support, more determined than any applause. You will discover that when you stop expecting people to be your friends, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop being the one who waits, and you become the one who moves. You stop being the one who depends, and you become the one who decides. You stop being the one who fears being alone, and you become the one who thrives in it. That shift changes everything. Because when you no longer need anyone, you're free. Free to rise, free to fall, free to live without permission, free to succeed without applause, free to fail without shame. And the irony is this: when you no longer need anyone, that's when the right people come. Not because you begged for them, but because your independence draws them in. People are drawn to strength, to clarity, to confidence. They'll want to be near you because you don't cling to them. They'll want to stay because you don't depend on them. They'll respect you because you respect yourself enough not to hand them all your power. But always remember, even then, even when they're close, even when they stay, no one is your friend. They are companions for the moment, but not the foundation of your life. That foundation is you, and only you. They are companions for the moment, but not the foundation of your life. That foundation is you, and only you. And when you finally embrace this, you stop feeling desperate for connection. You stop chasing people who clearly don't value you. You stop begging for scraps of attention from those who only remember you when it's convenient for them. Instead, you begin to carry yourself differently. You walk with a quiet confidence. You move with a presence that doesn't scream, "Please see me," but instead radiates, "I see myself." That shift alone changes how the world interacts with you, because the world mirrors your energy. If you carry yourself like someone who needs others, you will always find people who exploit that need. But if you carry yourself like someone who needs no one, you will find people who respect that strength. The trap so many people fall into is the belief that their worth is measured by how many people surround them. They show off groups of friends, massive networks, countless connections, thinking it makes them untouchable. But the truth is, most of those people would scatter the moment things got difficult. Most of them would vanish the second your light doesn't serve theirs. Real strength is not found in numbers. Real strength is found in the ability to stand when all numbers have gone. Real strength is not about how many people cheer for you in the spotlight. It's about how you handle the silence in the dark, and silence can be terrifying. That's why most people avoid it. They run from it. They surround themselves with noise, with chatter, with constant interaction, because they're afraid of being left with their own thoughts. But that silence is where you discover who you are. That silence is where your true voice emerges. That silence is where you stop absorbing everyone else's opinions and finally hear your own. If you are brave enough to stand in it, you'll come out of it unstoppable. Because once you know yourself, once you trust yourself, once you can walk through the silence without fear, you cannot be controlled. When you accept no one is your friend, you stop being manipulated by flattery. You stop being swayed by promises. You stop being pulled into alliances that drain you. You stop being fooled by the illusion of loyalty. You start evaluating people for what they show, not what they say. You start watching their actions, their consistency, their behavior when you have nothing to offer them. And that's when you see the truth. That's when you realize most people aren't really with you. They're with what they get from you. And the moment that changes, they will be gone. So, don't be shocked when it happens. Don't take it personally. Take it as proof that your foundation is solid, because you never built it on them anyway. This truth also forces you to take radical responsibility for your life. You can't blame others for holding you back, because you know they were never meant to carry you forward. You can't blame friends for abandoning you, because you never expected them to stay. You can't keep pointing fingers at people who didn't show up, because you've already accepted the reality, no one is your friend, and in that responsibility lies power. Because the moment you stop waiting for others to act, you start acting. The moment you stop expecting others to lead, you begin leading. The moment you stop relying on their strength, you start developing your own. Think about what happens when you walk into a battlefield. Would you put your life in the hands of soldiers who have already proven they run when the fight gets hard? Or would you rather walk in knowing you can fight alone? Knowing you don't have to depend on anyone to survive. That's life. It's a battlefield. And if you keep expecting people to shield you, you will fall the moment they run. But if you've trained yourself to stand alone, you won't just survive, you'll dominate. The irony is that most people fear being alone, but the ones who embrace it are the most powerful. Because when you're comfortable being alone, no one can use loneliness against you. They can't manipulate you with absence. They can't control you with approval. They can't shake you by leaving. You've already mastered the very thing they thought would break you. That's why solitude is not your weakness. It's your weapon. Every challenge you faced where someone didn't show up, every disappointment where someone let you down, every heartbreak where someone walked away, that was training. It was life preparing you for the truth. It was life teaching you that people will always choose themselves first. And that's okay, because you must choose yourself first too. Stop resenting those moments. Start seeing them as the lessons that shaped your resilience. They didn't abandon you. They revealed the strength you forgot you had. And when you operate from this mindset, you stop tolerating less than you deserve. You stop lowering your standards just to keep someone close. You stop giving to prove you're worthy. You stop breaking yourself into pieces so people can feel whole. Because you realize that the only approval you need is your own. The only loyalty that matters is the loyalty you have to yourself. The only love that truly saves you is the love you give yourself. Look around at the people who thrive, who stand tall regardless of what life throws at them. They didn't get there because they had an army of friends holding them up. They got there because they learned how to stand even when the army walked away. They got there because they stopped expecting someone else to save them and decided to save themselves. They got there because they embraced the harsh truth that no one is their friend, and in that harshness, they discovered freedom. So yes, smile at people, share love, offer kindness, build connections, but don't confuse them with permanence. Celebrate those who walk with you, but don't make them your foundation. Enjoy companionship, but don't mistake it for unconditional loyalty. Because when you strip away the illusions, when you accept the truth without resistance, you become untouchable. You move differently, you think differently, you live differently. You stop being someone who crumbles when people leave, and you become someone who rises higher, regardless of who stays or who goes. And once you reach that point, you no longer look at life with fear of loss. You stop clinging to people. You stop begging for permanence. You stop fighting to keep what was never yours. You understand that everything and everyone is temporary, and that's not a curse, it's liberation. Because when you know nothing is guaranteed, you stop wasting time trying to hold it. You start investing your energy where it matters most. Your growth, your vision, your path, your destiny. This is where your true power lies. Not in how many people walk with you, but in how strong you stand when they don't. Not in how many voices cheer for you, but in how steady your own voice is when it's the only one you hear. Not in how many hands reach out to help you, but in how firm your grip is when you carry yourself. Not in how many hands reach out to help you, but in how firm your grip is when you carry yourself. And you need to understand something vital. Life will constantly test that grip. It will send storms you didn't expect, challenges you didn't prepare for, and losses you never imagined you could endure. And in those moments, you will realize just how fragile human loyalty is. People who swore they would never leave will vanish. People who claimed they would fight beside you will retreat. People who once celebrated your victories will quietly resent your growth. That's the reality. And if you build your strength on their promises, you will shatter the moment they break them. But if you've already accepted the truth that no one is your friend, you will not collapse when they go. You will already be standing on your own foundation, unshaken. Think about the times you've been pushed to your limit. Maybe you lost something important. Maybe you faced rejection that cut deep. Maybe you stood on the edge of despair, waiting for someone to pull you back, and no one came. Do you remember the weight of that silence? Do you remember how it felt to realize that no one could carry you through it? That was life whispering the truth: no one is your friend. Not in the way you hope, not in the way you imagine. And while that realization hurt, it also freed you. Because it forced you to discover what you're capable of when no one else steps in. And the truth is, you are capable of more than you've been led to believe. The world wants you dependent. It wants you needing validation. It wants you tethered to approval so you can be controlled, so you can be manipulated, so you can be kept small. But when you break that chain, when you stop needing others to confirm your worth, you become dangerous. In the best way possible. Dangerous because you can't be swayed by flattery. Dangerous because you can't be broken by rejection. Dangerous because you don't crumble when you're alone. That kind of independence terrifies people, but it's also what makes you untouchable. There's a reason so many people struggle to rise. It's not that they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. It's that they are chained to others. They wait for encouragement before they act. They wait for approval before they believe. They wait for support before they take risks. And because of that, they never truly move. They stay stuck, waiting for someone to walk with them. But the road to greatness is walked alone. Not because no one ever wants to join you, but because no one can carry your vision the way you can. No one feels your fire the way you feel it. No one is willing to sacrifice for your dream the way you must. It is yours alone, and if you keep expecting others to be your constant companions, you will abandon it the moment they abandon you. You've seen this in your own life. How many dreams did you bury because no one else believed in them? How many goals did you abandon because you didn't have support? How many times did you hesitate because you thought, I can't do this alone? And yet, every time you move forward alone, every time you take one step without anyone clapping, every time you trust yourself when no one else does, you prove that you can. You prove that you don't need a crowd. You prove that your strength doesn't come from numbers. It comes from discipline, from courage, from resilience. So stop waiting for people to stand beside you. Stop waiting for friends to validate your choices. Stop waiting for loyalty that may never come. Start moving forward anyway. Start building anyway. Start fighting anyway. Because the truth is, the world belongs to the ones who keep going when everyone else stops. The ones who refuse to quit even when they are alone. The ones who carry themselves through the storm without asking for shelter. That's who the world remembers. That's who changes the game. And when you begin to live this way, you will feel a shift inside you. At first, it will feel heavy, even lonely. But then, it will feel liberating. You'll notice how little it matters who claps for you. You'll notice how little it matters who stays. You'll notice how unbothered you are by betrayal or absence. Because you've stopped expecting anything from anyone. And when you stop expecting, nothing can hurt you. Every act of loyalty becomes a gift. Every show of support becomes a blessing. But your survival, your strength, your growth, they never depend on it. That is the essence of true power. It's not arrogance. It's not coldness. It's not pushing people away. It's standing so firmly in who you are that even if everyone else walks away, you remain unshaken. And ironically, that's when the right people start gravitating toward you. Because strength attracts, confidence attracts, independence attracts. People will want to be near you not because you need them, but because they feel something in you they don't yet have in themselves. But you'll never confuse their presence with permanence. You'll never mistake their companionship for your foundation. You'll never hand them the keys to your peace. Because you already know the truth, no one is your friend. And in knowing that, you become free to choose differently. You choose relationships not out of desperation, but out of strength. You choose connection not because you're afraid of being alone, but because you enjoy it without needing it. You choose loyalty not because you expect it to be flawless, but because you appreciate it while it lasts. You give without attachment. You love without illusion. You lead without needing followers. You live without needing approval. That is freedom. That is power. That is the life you create when you embrace the truth. Every time you rise on your own, you rewrite your story. Every time you succeed without support, you build proof that you are unstoppable. Every time you walk forward alone, you teach yourself that solitude is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. And with each step, you shed the illusions that held you down. You stop being the person who needs. You become the person who decides. You stop being the person who waits. You become the person who moves. And in that transformation, you find a kind of peace no friendship, no applause, no validation can ever give you. Because once you know you are enough on your own, you will never again live in fear of being left.